Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Salisbury City Council Legislative Session. Today is July 26, 2021, and we are calling the meeting to order. Before we get started, in case of emergency, please make sure we would go out these double doors here. You can make a right to the stairwell, or you can make a left. That area is blocked all the way around. There's another stairwell. And please do not use the elevators. If you need assistance, please ask for it, and Deputy City Administrator Andy Kitzrow will carry you on his back down the steps to safety. At this time, I would like to invite Pastor Greg Carlson from Park Seventh-day Adventist Church to give the invocation. Pastor Carlson.
Thank you. Let's bow our heads. Father God, we ask that your presence be in these chambers with us this evening as these men and women make the important decisions that make Salisbury a better city, a better community for all of us to live in. Lord, I thank you for the promise of your guidance, and we ask that it be here with us this evening, and that we all continue to work together, to strive to live together, to put this pandemic behind us, and to go on with our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. At this time, we'll rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have a couple of presentations, so we'll turn the floor over to our City Administrator, Julia Glantz.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Little difference there. So I'm here to share some exciting news. So on April 29th, 2021, the city announced an art competition for students under the age of 18 to help us raise awareness for COVID-19 vaccinations. We called for poster submissions to be used in an awareness campaign to encourage vaccinations and to further connect with our non-native English-speaking community. As we know, vaccination rates are not the same across many different demographics. This contest came out of the idea of Johanna Cooper, a recent Salisbury University graduate and intern in the mayor's office for the last year, through her work with the Vulnerable Populations Task Force and developing a relationship with a really amazing organization called Welcoming America, which the city is a member of. I'd like to note that the Vulnerable Populations Task Force has been providing life-saving resources to our community for the last 15 months and has no end in sight in their critical work. And I'd also like to remind everyone of where we stand today. In Wicomico County, 41% of adults are fully vaccinated. Nationally, 70% of adults are. So we have a long way to go, and we now can say that this pandemic is of the non-vaccinated. Hopefully, as these posters and other campaign materials roll out, we will see more people become vaccinated to prevent death and disease. I'd like to thank Johanna Cooper, Tidal Health, Wicomico County Health Department, and the Vulnerable Populations Task Force, and our students who are with us today for their art submissions to encourage vaccinations across Wicomico County and elsewhere. So we had students from all over the county participate in this competition, aging from age 10 to 17. So we have 3 winners that we are going to announce tonight, and they are getting awarded a check to help with whatever you want. Bank accounts are good, college funds, those things. So I would like to call up Liana Jones, Liana Jones, who was our 3rd place recipient, receiving a check for $100. I'm gonna come up here. And do you want to say where you go to school, how old you are, why'd you participate? If you're comfortable with that.
I'm 17. I go to Parkside High School, and I did it to raise awareness for vaccines against the COVID.
So this is your certificate, and this is a photocopy of, or a picture of the painting Oh, great.
Oh, there's
Perfect.
the
Oh,
original.
lovely.
Oh, that's
Very nice.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Oh, do you mind standing up here? We're gonna get some pictures. And here's what you can. Too many things, not enough hands. So our second place winner is winning $200 and is Nolan Schweitzer. All right, Nolan. And I would like to note that Nolan's sister also was in the competition. How do you say it? Adeline Schweitzer. And did you bring yours? You did? All right. So this is a picture. You want to hold it up? Picture of your artwork, and it's in multiple languages.
I love it. That's
In multiple languages as well, which we really appreciated. Do you want to say where you go to school and how? Why you...
I'm going to Bennett Middle, and I did this just to raise awareness for COVID.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. So here's your check, my friend, and
Wow.
your recognition certificate. And lastly, our winner who could not be with us tonight is Madison Snowick. Excuse me, I'm probably not saying that right. Who won $300? So congratulations to everybody. Thank you for your participation. Can we get a group picture with the mayor and city council with you all? All right, so we're gonna go right back there.
Stand there for a while.
Go cross-eyed, you can't tell.
Congratulations. Great job.
Did you get it?
I was wondering what was taking Andy so
Don't spend that
long.
money on one place.
I took 12. You took 12?
I'm gonna paint these.
You're good.
This is in 3 languages, Spanish, English, and yeah.
And, oop,
Why do we have an adult contest?
you got some ideas?
I throw those art skills out there.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a proclamation for Disability Pride Month.
Good evening, council, ladies and gentlemen. So I have a proclamation that I'd like to read tonight, and this is in recognition of not only Disability Pride Month, but the significant work that volunteers and community members have put into our community to ensure that we have a more accessible, welcoming, loving, and safe community. President George H.W. Bush signed the Americans with Disabilities Act into law on July 26, 1990, 31 years ago, to ensure the civil rights of people with disabilities by establishing a clear and comprehensive national mandate for the elimination of discrimination against individuals with disabilities. And since signed into law, it has expanded opportunities for Americans with disabilities by reducing barriers, changing perceptions, and increasing full participation in community life. Disability Pride Month coincides with the passing of the ADA in July 1990 and has been used over the last 6 years to promote visibility and mainstream awareness of the positive pride felt by people with disabilities that comes from celebrating their heritage, disability culture, and the unique experiences they as people with differing abilities lend and contribute to society. And it offers an opportunity to celebrate and strengthen the pride, power, and unity of people with different abilities, their families, and their allies. Disability pride has been defined as accepting and honoring each person's uniqueness, seeing it as a natural and beautiful part of human diversity, And people with disabilities are the largest and most diverse minority, making up 15% of the world's population, representing all abilities, ages, races, ethnicities, religions, and socioeconomic backgrounds. And since October 1, 1991, the City of Salisbury continues to work with its own Disability Advisory Committee to ensure that those with disabilities have an equitable opportunity to participate in, benefit from, and relish the opportunities their community provides, as the committee assists the mayor in establishing a means by which the people of Salisbury with disabilities can formally and efficiently express concerns relative to accessibility and accommodations. And the City of Salisbury now celebrates and recognizes the 31st anniversary of the passing of the American with Disabilities Act and the progress that has been made since 1990 and since 1991 in our community by reaffirming the principles of equality and inclusion and recommitting city efforts to reach full ADA compliance. Now, therefore, I, Jacob Day, Mayor of the City of Salisbury, do hereby proclaim July 2021 as Disability Pride Month in our city. And I invite everyone to remember that we all matter and that we all have a purpose just the way we are. I want to share with you a little quote, and it follows, and the author is unknown. Recognize my disabilities, emphasize my possibilities. I want to share with you that this is one of the longest standing volunteer committees that the City of Salisbury has. Many of you in this room have worked with members of this committee, and many of you in your own careers and professions and in your own lives. I'm looking at two of our council members who have devoted a lot of their time and much of their life to those with different abilities. So I recognize not only those of you in the room who have participated and supported this committee, but the members as well. And I believe we've got Tim Mayer, the chairman of the committee, on the phone. Is that right? Tim, can you hear us?
That is correct. That is correct. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Thank you very much, Mayor Day and Madam City Administrator. Thank you very much for the invitation, and Mr. Council President and the honorable members of the Salisbury City Council as well for your support. There may be some other members of the Disability Advisory Committee that are both physically present, and others may be on the Zoom platform as well. So I certainly will, if they're there, they can certainly be recognized for their continued participation. Like everything else, it's been quite a year for us since the last time that we had this last July. What a year it's been. But I can assure you the Disability Advisory Committee has not skipped a beat, and we continue to meet on a quarterly basis and have done that safely throughout the pandemic as well. Several things that are in our continued to-do list, and you'll be hearing about many of those projects kind of moving forward, and the impact that those will have on the city. I'll give you one little appetizer. We're trying to venture on to highlight a little bit of all the work that has been done for accessibility in the downtown area with all the new streetscape project that has been done and all the accessibility that has gone along with that. So the mayor and the administration are supporting that project, and hopefully that production and video will have multiple purposes all over the place, really, for the city and the general public to get a better understanding and to be used for, all kinds of things about public awareness as well. So just wanted to drop that little hint to you that that's something that's in the works, and we certainly thank the support of the city staff that will be assisting us with that as well. So stay tuned for that. And I'm going to just hold for a moment, and if there are any other members that wish to share anything, thank you very much also to Councilwoman Gregory. She is our liaison person from the City Council on to the Disability Advisory Committee and attends the meetings with us and gives us wonderful insight and support from her own personal perspective. So just wanted to recognize that as well. But we have city residents as well as representatives from agencies that serve the disabled population across the entire spectrum that are members of the committee. So I'm going to hold, and if somebody will just assist in terms of recognizing anybody that's there or anybody else that's on the platform.
Tim, this is Mayor Day again. I'm going to, in just a moment, call up Mike Dyer, but I also want to point out that we have committee member Dom Sessa on as well on Zoom, right?
Great.
Hi, Dom.
Hi, I'm in a hotel, so I'm sorry for the background, but yes. Thank you, Mayor Day, for calling on me. Actually, I was just at Annapolis today with Governor Hogan celebrating the ADA 31st, and it's now a statewide thing. Can you hear me? Yeah, it's now officially a statewide disability, culture, and achievements. The executive order was signed. I got to witness that, which is incredible, and it was really nice to have Eastern Shore acknowledgement there, so I'm really proud. Thank you. I think something that's really incredible is that in Salisbury, all are welcome. For the committee, I think Kim kind of covered it, but yeah, I think celebrating disability pride is important because, as you said, all people are equal and all people should have a voice. And there's still a lot of work to be done. And these kind of steps and proclamations make it better. So I can let Mike speak. I think it's kind of been covered for what the committee's doing.
Thank you so much, Dom. Mike?
Okay. Thank you very much. Absolutely. And Tim did a great job talking about the things that we did, and Dom as well, who's very, very humble. Dom is an amazing person. She's working on our social media, trying to get that stuff out there as well. I have the privilege of serving with Dom on the Vulnerable Populations Committee as well. So persons with disabilities are represented there as well. So I don't know. It's Jack here. It's good to see him. He's the guy that got me on this committee in the first place. And thank you. And it's good working with Julie and Michelle and then Jake and the rest of you through the years. So the population that I serve in particular, those with developmental disabilities at United Needs and Abilities, and it's just very good. The coming together on this particular committee is very, very good, where we're seeing people with various either having the disabilities or working with those who do. So it's a good group, and we're just very thankful.
So I'm going to give this proclamation to you, Mike, in just a second. We're going to take a picture. I'm going to ask Councilwoman Gregory to come up. And of course, as I acknowledge the work of Councilwoman Blake and the life experiences of Councilwoman Gregory, I shouldn't have left out Jack Heath, who spent one of his careers working very closely with and supporting a population in our community that has a variety of different abilities at Lower Shore Enterprises. So thank you, Jack, for your service as well.
While you're doing that, Mayor Day, can I just add one other thing, please?
Of course.
Just a point of personal privilege. I have served on and off of this committee for over 15 years, back to Mayor Barry Tillman's administration, and it's been quite an honor. My term is ending at the end of this year, and so I would like the general public to be aware that there will be a vacancy to serve on the Disability Advisory Committee for city residents to be able to step forward. And so if anybody out there may be interested, please be aware that, vacancy announcements will be forthcoming. And if you are interested, please contact the mayor's office of the city and find out more about how you can participate in a wonderful opportunity, a great way to learn more, to network, and to really have a wonderful, positive experience serving the committee. And it's certainly been my privilege. So thank you very much for that.
Tim, I don't like surprises. No, anybody else have their resignation prepared tonight? I hope not. No, Tim.
That wasn't a resignation.
Understood. Now, Tim, thank you for your years of service, your many years of service through multiple administrations and councils. So you're appreciated. Thank you for what you shared with me the other day. And Tim, we appreciate you very much. I know the committee, your fellow committee members appreciate you. And on behalf of the entire administration and council, we are grateful for your service. So thank you, Tim. And thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, at this time, we'll move forward with the business portion of our meeting. Entertain a motion to adopt the legislative agenda.
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Give that one to Mrs. Blake. All right. And tonight, we have Assistant City Clerk Julie English making her debut,
I knew you were going to say
presenting the consent agenda.
that. So, good evening. On the consent agenda this evening, we have 3 budget work session minutes. Those dates are April 21st, 2021, May the 11th, 2021, and May the 18th, 2021. And we also have a June 7th, 2021 work session minutes, June 14th, 2021 council meeting minutes, June 21st, 2021 special meeting minutes, and then we have resolution number 3116, and that is to appoint Mary Kiley to the Parks and Recreation Committee for term ending July of 2024.
Have any questions, comments on the consent agenda? Is Mary Kiley present? Is she on the phone? No. Okay. Well, we appreciate anybody who volunteers and serves on our committees in the city. We are always looking for people to fill positions, so please contact the mayor's office if you're interested. I will call for the question on this. All those in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? No? No? Chair votes aye. Entertain a motion to approve the award of bids.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Gregory. Mrs. Miller, how are you doing today?
Good. Good evening, council. Good evening, Jack. First item this evening on the award of bids is for the department, the fire department. It's for an aerial ladder truck. We'd like to utilize a cooperative contract from HGAC BY. That's the Houston Galveston Area Council. It's contract number FS12-19. The total cost of the ladder truck is confirmed from HGAC BY at $1,397,620.
Any questions or comments on this item?
Okay.
Next item.
The next 2 awards were competitively bid by the city of Salisbury. The first item is contract number A-21-109-100. To put my 109. It's a concrete repair and replacement. It's a citywide contract. It was initiated by the Department of Infrastructure and Development. It's for the construction of curb, gutter, and sidewalks throughout the city. It might include concrete removal, patching, installation of concrete bollards, pavers, and other concrete work as needed. We did advertise this bid in May 18th. We opened bids on June 23rd. We got 5 bids. We did specify in the contract documents that it would be a multi-vendor award. We found this works very well for the city of Salisbury so that we award to more than one vendor in the event that one vendor can't do all the work, a vendor's busy. So we selected the top 3 lowest bidders in that category for the bids. We estimate the work to be about $300,000 to $400,000 per year. That was estimated on the base bid amounts. You'll note in the packet the 3 GL accounts from which funding is involved. And this would be what we call an IDIQ contract, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantities. So we just give purchase orders to the vendors as the work comes up. It's not a guaranteed amount to any one vendor.
Questions or comments? I do appreciate the work that was being done in my neighborhood last week where they were putting in the newer ADA regulation curbs in the corners. And so very nice to see that. So appreciate the work that's being done with that.
Great.
Next item?
Thank you. Yep. And the next item is RFP 21-107.
That's the Paleo Water Treatment Plant Filter Replacement Design. What this includes is the replacement of existing green sand pressure filters, and it also designs a building addition to house the new fixtures. We advertised this bid end of April, April 30th. We opened proposals June 1st. We did get 4 proposals. One of the proposals did not rank high enough for us to open the pricing on. But the other 3 did get their pricing opened. The top rated vendor was GHD. We'd like to make an award to GHD in the amount of $296,737.
Questions or comments on this item? All right. With that, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the award of bids, please signify by saying aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. It's 5-0. Thank you, Mrs. Miller.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have one ordinance on the agenda. This is ordinance number 2675 for second reading to approve the 2021 GO bonds for various items. How are you doing?
Good evening, council. Good evening, President Heath. As you can see, Michael has roped me into coming back and reading this painfully long ordinance. But the good news is that although it is 12 pages, we have summarized it down to a mere 3. So I will now read for you ordinance number 2675. So ordinance 2675 is a bond ordinance covering the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds planned to be issued as set forth in your FY 2022 budget. In addition to the funding of projects per this budget, the city's financial advisor is planning on the refunding of bonds which they determine will be profitable to refinance. Our bond counsel for this is Lindsay Rader of Funk and Bolton, and she has very capably summarized, thank goodness, the ordinance as follows. The recitals trace the borrowing powers and the city's intention to borrow money to refinance, reimburse, or refinance the cost of the public purpose projects identified in Section 3 through the issuance of general obligation bonds and, to the extent applicable, general obligation bond anticipation notes and/or general obligation bond refunding bonds. Section 1 provides that the recitals are an integral part of the ordinance, and the terms defined therein and not otherwise defined in the ordinance sections shall have the meanings given to such terms in the recitals, and any official referred to by title in the ordinance shall include any person serving in the absence or disability of a titled official or in an acting or interim capacity, and any person generally referred to by another title, titles used in the ordinance confirmed to titles used in the charter or the city code. It clarifies that references to principal amounts or proceeds of obligations mean the par amounts of such obligations. In Section 2, the city determines to borrow money and incur indebtedness for the public purpose of financing, reimbursing, or refinancing costs as defined in Section 3B of the projects. In Section 3, the city is authorized to issue its general obligation bonds in one or more series from time to time in an original aggregate principal amount not to exceed $6,124,076, the bonds. Section 3B defines the costs, thereafter referred to as costs of the projects, and the projects. It provides that the city may reallocate principal amounts among the projects without notice to or consent of the holders of the bonds or any BINs, as identified in Section 6, and that proceeds may be spent on any applicable costs of the projects, notwithstanding the descriptive names of the projects, including without limitation, costs related to changes in the scopes of and/or names of any of the projects affected through applicable budgetary procedures or applicable law, including to the extent applicable by resolution. In the event the city issues any bans, application of bond proceeds to pay or repay principal, premium and/or interest on the bans will be deemed application for costs of the projects. This section also provides for the allocation and reallocation without notice to or the consent of the holders of any bonds or any BANs of unexpected proceeds, net original issue premium realized upon sale, and/or investment earnings. In Section 4, The proceeds of the bonds are to be used solely for public purposes described in Section 3 of the ordinance unless the council enacts a supplemental ordinance subject to Section 3C. Section 4 also specifies circumstances in which a supplemental ordinance is not required. In Section 5, prior to issuing any series of the bonds, the council shall adopt one or more resolutions fixing, determining, approving, or providing for all details relating to such series. Section 5 sets forth the types of determinations to be made by resolution. Section 5 authorizes the council to delegate to one or more officials authority to make any determinations with respect to a series of the bonds. In Section 6, subsection A, the city is authorized to issue and sell from time to time one or more series of general obligation bond anticipation notes, bands, in an original aggregate principal not to exceed $6,124,076 in order to finance, reimburse, or refinance costs of the projects on an interim basis. Details regarding each series of bands will be determined or provided for by resolution of the council, and any such resolution shall make or provide for the same types of determinations provided for in Section 5 with respect to the bonds, to the extent applicable to the bands. By resolution, the council may delegate to one or more officials the authority to make any determinations with respect to a series of the bands. In subsection B, the city covenants to pay from the bonds the principal of any issued bands, to issue bonds to refinance any issued bands as soon as the reason for deferring issuance of such bonds abates, and to pay interest on any issued bands. In subsection C, the ordinance provides that the council may provide by resolution for renewal of any bands at maturity, with or without resale, and for any modifications to the bands and related documentation. In Section 7, the city is authorized to issue and sell from time to time one or more series of general obligation bonds in order to currently refund or advance refund any bonds issued pursuant to the ordinance, including by paying issuance costs and funded interest, provided that the original aggregate principal amount of any series of refunding bonds may not exceed 130% of the aggregate principal amount of the bonds refunded therefrom. Details regarding each series of refunding bonds will be determined or provided for by resolution of the council, and any such resolution shall make or provide for the same types of determinations provided for in Section 5 with respect to the bonds, to the extent applicable to the refunding bonds, and other determinations required by applicable law. This section provides for allocation and reallocation without notice to or the consent of the holders of the refunding bonds of unexpended proceeds, net original issue premium realized upon sale and/or investment earnings. By resolution, the council may delegate to one or more officials the authority to make any determinations with respect to a series of the refunding bonds. In Section 8, the city pledges its full faith and credit and unlimited taxing power to the payment of any issued bonds, bands, or refunding bonds. To the extent other monies are available for such purpose, the city may apply such other monies to pay debt service on such obligations, as long as such application does not violate federal tax code limitations or other applicable law. In addition, the council by resolution may provide that all or a portion of debt service on any series of the obligations may be payable in the first instance from other sources. In Section 9, by resolution, the council may make appropriate arrangements in the event any put option, change in interest rate, or modification of any issued obligation could lead to a reissuance of the same for federal tax code purposes. In Section 10, by resolution, the council may determine that any series of the obligations may be consolidated with any other bonds, bond anticipation notes, or refunding bonds of the city as applicable and issued as a single series. In Section 11, by resolution, the council may authorize any modification to a series of the obligations once issued and related documentation, unless under applicable law, the proposed modifications require action by ordinance in addition to or in place of a resolution. In Section 12, appropriate officials are authorized to take all action necessary to complete and close the sale and delivery of each series of the obligations and to consummate the transactions contemplated by such issues. In Section 13, the title is a statement The title is a statement of the substance of the ordinance for publication and all other purposes. In section 14, the provisions of the ordinance are to be liberally construed. And in section 15, the ordinance will be effective following approval by the mayor or subsequent passage by the council over the mayor's veto in accordance with the charter, section SC 2-12.
Thank you very much. I inadvertently forgot to entertain a motion and a second for this ordinance, which does not mean you have to reread it. It's just
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Blake. Any questions or comments?
No.
All right.
None.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll call for the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Do we have any public comments? None? Nobody on the line? I see Jared's on the line. He's not here physically this time. Any questions or comments there, Jared? Are you good today? All right, he's ignoring me. Before I forget, because last time I forgot to give the mayor the floor, and so normally we give him a few minutes. This week his time is doubled to make up for last time. Mr. Mayor, any comments for the good of the order? So.
Thank you so much for that. I'm speechless now. Also, like I asked you outside, what is double zero? It's nothing. No, I don't really have anything significant to add tonight, except, I think it's worth pointing out that not only today did you, through your decision, enable a new ladder truck to come to the city of Salisbury to respond to not only city residents, but the entire Salisbury Fire District, which makes up the vast majority of the developed area of Wycomico County. But also, the Elks of Salisbury donated the dive trailer for the city, and that was accepted today. So they took possession of that today. So the Elks Lodge, I think my understanding is they gave away $207,000 to community efforts this year. $207,000.
Wow.
And our residents were the beneficiary of a lot of that, including the dive service, which the chief tells me, although he's gone now, the chief tells me is something that many fire agencies aren't able to afford to keep up anymore. Seaford just listed their dive equipment for sale. So I think we should be grateful for that. And then, just in the same vein, looking at some of the things you approved with the second reading of the ordinance tonight, that included ADA improvements to Poplar Hill Mansion, the funding of that work, and it included citywide work that will benefit people in terms of accessibility. As you noted, there are improvements going around town all over the place. So, never forget that the decisions that you make have immediate and direct impact, although certainly some things take longer than we would want. They have immediate and direct impact, so thank you all.
This time we'll go to the council. I'll go around the table. Mrs. Gregory?
Normally I'm last.
Switching things up.
Oh, okay, I see it. Just want to remind everybody that, COVID is still out there. Please be careful. Please make sure you go get your vaccine. And be safe. It's going to be hot this week.
Ms. Jackson?
So go ahead, press the button. Don't say it. I just want to reiterate what Michelle has said. I went to Florida for a weekend, and just, I think one day, the COVID rate went up to 742. So we still have to remember that COVID is still out here. I was doing some research, and just so happens today we only had 8 new cases, and we want to keep it that way. Matter of fact, we want 0 cases in Wycomico County. The state of Maryland, as of today, had 306. I would love to see numbers lower to 0. We have to be mindful. I'm going to actually tell you, when I went to Florida, I was scared. I was really scared, to the point that my blood sugar went up because I was paranoid because I didn't want to get sick. So I'm just telling everybody, be careful. Even though we do have that vaccination, it doesn't also mean that we won't get it, but the repercussions won't be as bad as they probably would be if we didn't get it. But I'm advising everyone, please get your COVID vaccines. They're desperately needed for you to survive and for others to survive. Take this serious because it is serious. I'm a survivor. I'm a 2-time survivor of COVID. So please, don't play with your lives, and please don't play with others.
Ms. Blake?
A couple announcements. First and foremost, please be sure to volunteer for the Folk Festival. I have volunteered. I'll be a bike valet for several days. I'm excited about that. I feel like my gifts will be highlighted. You can go to suregetconnected.org to sign up. There's plenty of things you can do. Just a nice reminder, please be mindful when you're out riding around for our first responders and our road workers. Get out of the way, be kind. Please slow down, be safe for our people out in the roads. Maryland State law, 3 feet for bike riders. Make sure you give all bike riders 3 feet. And above all, if you're healthy enough, please give blood. Please donate blood.
Mr. Heath, live from your undisclosed location somewhere in the Northeast.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I am really happy to see the proclamation from the mayor regarding Disability Pride Month. As many of you know, I did serve as CEO of Lower Shore Enterprises for a while, and I enjoyed a very good relationship with my friend there, Mike, and United Needs and Abilities. And my first interaction when I got onto the Lower Shore Enterprise, Mayor Ireton, thank goodness, asked me if I would chair the advisory committee. And it was a pleasure doing that. And Tim was on it back then, and he's a great contributor, and I'm glad. I'm sad to see that he's going, but we have plenty of other committees for Tim to join. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for doing that. Again, not to be repetitive, but to be repetitive, please get vaccinated if you haven't been vaccinated. All you have to do is watch the news and see the horror stories about the people who have it and whose families have it, and said they wish they would have gotten the vaccine. So please do that. Be careful. Wear a mask when you go indoors if you can. And we'll see you next Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Heath. Last, I did want to take a moment and highlight, looking at the city's website, some of the boards and committees that we have positions open on. Board of Zoning Appeals has 2 open seats. The Building Board of Adjustments and Appeals has 2 open seats. The Ethics Commission has 1. Friends of Poplar Hill Mansion has 1. The Historic District Commission has 1. Housing Board of Adjustments and Appeals has 2 open seats. The Human Rights Advisory Committee has 4 open seats. The Parks and Rec Committee has 1 open seat, and the Zoo Commission has 1 open seat. So we have plenty of opportunities for people to serve in our community. National Folk Festival is coming up. And to the mayor's point about, the importance of the dive team and how we're the second busiest port in the state of Maryland. There's an enormous amount of fuel and grain and other items that come up and down the Wacomico River into the heart of our city. And understanding, our need to respond to anything in that area is critical. And our dive team, they also serve not just the city of Salisbury, but they serve the region. So if there's help needed in Chrisfield, or there's help needed in, so anywhere they go, they respond. So it's very important that we maintain and provide this not just to us, but to everybody in the area. And again, it's like Michelle said, it's going to be hot this week, so make sure we're checking on our neighbors. People need air conditioning, invite them in. And as always, be kind to your neighbors and everyone you interact with. Thank you, and we are adjourned.